Well, after nearly 4 years of back-and-forth fights and votes, the United Kingdom is leaving the European Union tonight. But it's not over just yet. Tonight is the beginning of a Brexit transition period expected to last another year or so. Ollie Barrett joins us live from London. So it is a momentous time in the UK, officially leaving the EU tonight. But let's talk about this transition period. What's that about?
Well, when Britain has left the European Union at 11 p.m. tonight UK time, which is 12 p.m. midnight in Brussels and therefore 1 a.m. Saturday morning in South Africa, Britain enters into that transition period in which it stops being an EU member state. It stops taking part in EU institutions like the European Commission, the European Council, but effectively many things with regards to trade and the movement of people and so on remain the same until the end of the year. That does give businesses and individuals some certainty about their future towards the end of this year. What it doesn't do is tell them what things are going to be like next year, and that's because Britain now heads into an intense period of negotiations with the European Union to try and work out the future relationship, the trading deal that they are going to have between London and Brussels going forward. Now, the government here in London says it can achieve that by the end of the year. Many people think that is an optimistic target.
So EU leaders today still warning Britain that life outside the bloc will never match the benefits it enjoyed as a member.
That's right. That's what the European Union would say. That's what some EU supporters here in the UK would say as well, that you can't replace what you're getting by being a member of the single market, the customs union and so on, with a way of looking elsewhere. Brexiteers would say there's going to be a positive, optimistic future. They say that leaving the EU means they can go out into the world, boost trade ties with Africa, for example, do more business with booming Asian economies, work on trade deals with South Africa and other economies in the African region and trading blocs around the world that actually will benefit the UK economy more in the long run. It's very hard to predict who is right in that argument. We won't know for a few years at least.
So Brexiteers, though, ignoring all of that, they are elated, no doubt.
That's right, and it's here in Parliament Square that many of them are gathering now, and this is where they will celebrate later on at that moment at 11 p.m. local time in London when Britain leaves the European Union. They do see this as a moment to celebrate. Many of them have campaigned for it all of their lives. As I say, there are also Remainers out on the streets in London today, though, saying that this is a sad day, one that shouldn't be celebrated. And they are also saying, many of those, that they want to campaign for Britain one day to rejoin the European Union. That seems a pretty lofty ambition from them at the moment, given where we are. But what the UK government says, that this does give the UK more sovereignty, that it allows them to design their own immigration system, for example, so that they can look to places like South Africa for skilled labour. They can do trade deals that make more benefit to the UK, but also to some of its allies in the Commonwealth, in Africa, in parts of Asia and the United States as well. But as I say, it's going to be a good few more years yet before we know exactly the benefits and the negatives that we see from this Brexit process. But 11 p.m. tonight local time is a pretty seismic moment in British history.
Yay! Today we celebrate the beginning of our independence, our ability to control our own laws, our own trade deals, our own borders, and we believe that Britain can now go forward into a future rejoicing. For the MEPs leaving here today, our duty is done, our harvest is home, and now we're off.
Yay! It's extraordinary. We never thought this day would come. You know, the establishment did everything they could to stop this day, and what we did is we fought really, really hard for the democratic right of those 17.4 million people who voted to leave. And, you know, even a few weeks ago, we honestly believed we were here for 5 years, and then everything changed. Back to London.
All right, Ollie, before you go, tell me about the mood and ordinary Brits. What are they saying?
Well, it's really mixed. I mean, there are Brexiteers who are over the moon, there are Remainers who are desperately disappointed, but there are also some people who supported Britain remaining in the European Union that just wanted to get this done and move on in some way. And one of the key issues for the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson now is to try and bring some unity back to the country, not just in terms of individual communities and relationships in families and all of that, but with regards to the United Kingdom as well. There are now real moves underway in Scotland for another independence referendum, real questions about Northern Ireland, whether there might be a reunification referendum with the Republic of Ireland. So one of Boris Johnson's key challenges going forward will be keeping the United Kingdom together as one country.
All right, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Ollie Barrett is in London.